You're listening to the Shipyard Christmas Pyjama Party. In this episode, there will be discussion on mental health and suicide that some listeners may find distressing. There will be phone numbers at the end of this podcast, as well as links on our website, YouTube, and Spotify accounts to UK and international mental health support groups. We're aware that the festive period can feel isolating and lonely, so please call or email them if you feel like you need to speak to somebody, especially at this time. Thank you. The Shipyard Christmas Pyjama Party, Moonlighting, Series 3, Episode 8, It's a Wonderful Job.
As our part of our Christmas theme, a jingle, we need a jingle bell in the background. So, as part of the Christmas theme, we're going to watch some Christmas episodes, and this one is, I won't say this is the first or last because who knows what order we will put them up. This is Moonlighting, It's a Wonderful Job, which is actually the second Christmas episode they did. It's from season 3, and it's a Wonderful Life homage.
On the way.
It's a Wonderful Job.
There we are. Yes.
Guest starring Richard Libertini. Jack Blessing. McGillicuddy.
That reminds me, what did I watch the other? Oh yeah, Hocus Pocus, the Halloween film.
Oh, you haven't seen that before?
I watched it this Halloween, and the dad is Richard Dawson, Charles Rocket. I was like,
he was in everything. He turned up. Oh, talking of Christmas episodes, it's not a shippy one, but he was in the Christmas episode of Contemplate where they squeeze him to see. He can see Al. So they squeeze him, and it's one of my favourite episodes of Contemplate. It's not shippy, but it's so worth watching. And actually, I think they're all on Now TV or Sky at the moment because they're showing them on Sci-Fi Channel. So definitely have a look at.
Yeah,
proper Christmas. It's really good.
This episode of Moonlighting, I watched it every Christmas throughout the sort of 90s. This was my Christmas tradition. I watched this and Bernard and the Genie, and that was my Christmas thing.
Genie. That's another thing as well. We need to have just a post that we're going to put up, just saying. These aren't shipping related, but you have to watch them just to get Christmassy. I have to say, this is a really good episode for Sybil Shepherd. I think this is quite underrated episode for her.
Yeah.
I think she's really is one of her best performances out of the entire series in this episode.
Totally. And I think we don't get that focus on her outer life, if you know what I mean, her life away from the office very much in the show. Obviously, once she's her parents, but you know what I mean. Aside from that, and this is the one episode where we see she has a life, she has a family, and it's a really, as you say, it's very good for her. Very good
I
acting.
think it also shows, though, by the way, we'll get to it later on, but it's still quite a lonely life for her, even
It is,
in the
yeah.
world she's living in now. I mean, obviously it's worse in the parallel world, but in this one, it's,
Yeah.
I think it does.
Her life is business.
Yeah.
But that's the Moonlighting, the Blue Moon Agency is her life, and that's, although it may seem a bad thing, oh, you've only got work in your life, she needs it, because without it she would have literally nothing. So I think that's, a really good way of showing this is the best thing she has, even though she is lonely.
But I think this is a lot about her character, because her accountant took everything else away from her, took that life away from her.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that kind of kept her busy, kept her focused, so she didn't dwell on everything that he'd stolen from her. So I think it's why it becomes such a big focus in her life.
Yeah, I think also it shows that the life she was leading, the models and whatever, is that it was all about money, and once your money's gone, everybody drops you, and you don't have, your besties that you lunch with or whatever. She doesn't have those anymore because she has no money.
Oh, they're all wearing black armbands like the morning Christmas. So they're all taking Christmas decorations down because Maddie's making them work Christmas.
Yeah, she's the Grinch because she's saying, no, they've got to work Christmas.
So why hang up the stocking when Santa ain't coming to town?
It's obviously something that's very different from American and British culture, is that for Britain, most people, if you work in an office, you probably get a week at least at Christmas. You will at least get 3 days anyway, depending on where Christmas you land.
Yeah, you've got like 12 days off over Christmas. It's great.
Most places have, you get off, come off Christmas Eve and don't go back till the 1st of January, 2nd of January. But
yeah, I think we go back on the 4th because New Year's Day is on a Saturday, so the Monday's back Monday, so we get quite a few days. It's quite good. Give me time to write my essays.
And fun fact, Scotland has a bank holiday on the 2nd of January, which England does not have, because Scottish people need 2 days to recover from hugging.
I'm moving to Scotland because it sounds like fun.
We have that instead of Good Friday.
And so you're distracting me from coming up from New Year. I'm just offended now.
It was the cost.
Yeah.
Mr. Pesto, what's going on? Nothing's going on. It's all coming off. We're undecking the halls. Excuse me, but the quicker we get this done, the quicker we can get our noses back to the grindstones.
I take it this refers to my memo.
What memo? Oh, you mean the memo about working Christmas? I think I remember taking a glance at that memo.
Hey, you don't have to take the decorations down.
Says who? I mean, no point in hanging out the stocking when Santa ain't coming to town. Then when Detective Agency, if your stocking gets stolen and your tree can't be found, you may as well call us because we'll be around. We have to work Christmas, so if you're in a pinch, just give Blue Moon a jingle and ask for the Grinch.
Excuse me, everyone. I know you're all very upset. I know I promised you Christmas week off, but it's not my fault that Mr. Hamilton's court date was moved up to the 28th. It's not my fault that there's no way we can get through all this paperwork if we take time off for Christmas. It's not my fault. I didn't set out to ruin anyone's holiday. But we took this case, and I feel we have an obligation to honor our commitment. If it's any consolation to any of you, I feel really terrible about this.
Good!
Yeah, I think also this is another thing that's different, obviously, in America, is that a lot of the people there to visit their family for Christmas will have to fly someplace. Which,
yeah, absolutely.
That's something that's not so common in Britain.
And also, driving. It's like my friend, when I went to California the other year, my friend drove to see me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that it was still in California, but she drove like 2.5 hours and over a mountain to come see me. And I'm like, I didn't realise you just going to do a 5-hour round trip. And she's like, yeah. It's nothing for driving like 2 hours to go somewhere. Like here, it's just like really, it's such an effort. It's like,
yes, exactly.
It's just different, isn't it? I suppose
it is. Yes, it's a completely different. And I think the system culture around Christmas in America is different because of Thanksgiving. That is
Yeah.
for a lot of people, that's seen as the family holiday, Thanksgiving. And
Yes.
I don't know if it's because there's a much more, or there was certainly a much more varied religious culture in America. Obviously, there's a lot of more Jewish people in America than there is in the UK.
I just love when I do want to go back over there for Christmas because I just love the effort people put in. I mean,
Yes,
people go to town for it's just literally the whole. I'd love to go out there from like September to December because everyone goes all out for Halloween.
yeah.
The second that comes out, you get all the autumnal stuff going up for Thanksgiving, and the second things come down for Thanksgiving, everything goes up for Christmas, and it's just amazing. They go around. I mean, we've started to do it a lot more here now, like decorating front of houses and everything. But you go like into the city centres and everything else, and it's just stunning.
I can't believe this. I can't believe you're taking their side against me.
I'm not taking their side. I'm just saying I understand their point.
Side.
Okay, I'm taking their side. These people don't drag their behinds in here day in, day out for the sheer joy of making sure Mr. Hamilton's security needs are met. They work so there's a couple extra presents for the kids under the Tannenbaum. So there's a Christmas goose on the table. So Grandpa can take a snooze in the Barca Lounge as Santa brought.
No one's asking them to work Christmas Day. Necessarily, if they get their work done.
Oh, you really are something, you know that?
Why? Because I built something and I don't want to see it destroyed?
You just don't get it, do you? This isn't about Christmas. This is about priorities. Your priorities. Wrong things are important to you, Miss Hayes.
Miss Hayes is a coffee on one too. Thank you. Close the door when you leave, please.
Okay, fine. You want to be king of the hill? Top of the heap? That's good. Just remember, Maddie, a good job doesn't love you back.
David just said the line that obviously it comes into effect later, that a good job doesn't love you back, and that's the sort of the essence of the episode. But in actual fact, it does. And that's
I think the other thing that's kind of pushes her towards it is that Maddie's been putting off going to see her great aunt who's been in the hospital, and her mum's just called her and said, "Look, I'm on my way," but her mother's just called to tell her that her aunt has passed away.
Is her dad?
Oh, her dad. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So she did. Yeah, she missed seeing her, and that's the sort of the catalyst for everything, isn't it? That she didn't. She was going to go and see her, and I think that's everybody has that. Everybody has that in their life where you put off going to see a sick relative because nobody wants to see them. It's upsetting, but you just never know, and it's seeing Maddie upset like that in that way is something we don't often see, is it?
No, she doesn't let her guard down that often.
Yeah.
There's a few episodes like when she has the miscarriage, or the episode where she finds her father's having an affair.
Yes, yeah.
There's the scene where she confronts him in the bedroom, which again I think is another underrated performance by her.
Yeah. They did something amazing with the audio in this episode, that it sounds very sort of haunted and echoey. I don't know if that was deliberate or whatever, but audio sounds different.
Short day, huh?
I'm going out.
Out. That's terrific. Miss Northwind blows through here, turns everyone's life to hell, and skips off to the beauty salon.
You're fired.
No. I quit.
That's enough. Stop it. Did I really ask so much? Did I? All I asked was for a little extra help. Well, I hear your answer loud and clear. I wish I'd never kept this place open. Then we'd see how cocky you'd be. Then we'd see.
Oh, poor Miss Maddie's speech. Did I? I could quote so many lines from this because I watched it.
Oh, there was quite a few episodes I just knew like verbatim. It's just
it was such an important show for us, And even though we talk a lot of sort of negatively about it in the sense of how it turned out. We certainly, neither of us will ever deny how important it is to us as a show.
Oh, even now I get like just thinking like in the evenings, like the theme tune with the orange background and I just still go, oh yeah, it's still got it.
Yes.
But I think also we know how it ended, but we also remember how it made us feel while we were watching it. We didn't know where it was going to end up.
Exactly.
We didn't know what was going to happen. We were those millions of fans that were actually we were fortunate in the UK. We didn't have the massive gaps in viewing that the Americans
exactly. Yeah.
BBC, for whatever reason, held back on showing it, possibly for that reason.
Yeah.
So we had the episodes week by week by week. So a lot of the issues about, oh yeah, wait, another new episode again, we were like, okay, it was only on last week, but fair enough. But in America, obviously, it had a lot more meaning.
Yeah.
But
I think as well that we, obviously, as time goes on, it's been 30 odd years, that obviously tastes have changed and we have a much more evolution of how we think relationships should be on television. So obviously we can look at it and go, oh wow, that's problematic. Some of the things we've said to each other.
We were in our teens, like young teens when we watched this. We had no idea. I mean, half the stuff they talk about now, like the sexual innuendo, I didn't have a clue when I was like 12 years old what they were talking about. And I go back and watch it again now, and I'm like, oh, okay. All I knew is it was really cool. It was glamorous. It was funny.
Yes, I think the thing is, you cannot deny how important the chemistry was, the banter was. It's still brilliant in those aspects, and that was what made us care so much about their relationship, even if it was problematic.
Yeah, I think now in hindsight we can go back and look at it all and we can see where the issues and where the problems were.
Yeah.
But I often wonder, fair enough, Glen Gould and Karen got thrown a curveball when Sybil Shepherd became pregnant and Bruce Willis had his accident. Fine, fair enough. But for everything that came after that, it's like you kind of wonder, did he actually have a plan?
Yeah.
Or was he just winging it week on week on week? Because towards the end, it's kind of how it felt. Yeah. And also the writer's strike didn't help either, and it did have issues.
Shouldn't stand so close to the edge.
Look, fella.
Albert.
Fine, Albert. Since you can't take a hint, I'll be blunt. I'm not interested.
Neither am I. Not the way you think. Look, you want to jump? Jump.
What makes you think I want to jump?
Oh, come on. I wasn't born yesterday. I've been doing this for thousands of years.
Doing what?
This, stepping into people's lives when things seem the blackest. Urging them to press on. Occasionally, making something extraordinary happen. Like I just did with you.
Excuse me.
A couple of hours ago, you said that you wished you never kept your business open. You did, didn't you?
Get away from me.
Oh, Maddie. There's nothing to be afraid of. You made a wish, and it's come true. You never kept your business afloat. The last 2 years never happened. At least, not in the way that you remember them.
Who are you?
Who do you think I am?
I think you're crazy.
Why don't you come with me? See if what I'm saying is true. Maddie, you have two ways to get off this roof. In the elevator with me, or in the way that you are contemplating.
I'm not getting in the elevator with you.
This scene that's happening just now, I think it's very brave of them to show, and that's the centerpiece of this episode, that she's considering suicide. It's very, very rare thing to see, especially for a female character. On a mainstream network show, to show a female character contemplating suicide, which she is, and that's horrifically sad. And obviously, that is the plot of It's a Wonderful Life, but even still, it's still a brave thing to do.
The thing is, you wouldn't, if it was David up on the roof, you'd kind of think, okay, really? But as it's Maddie, you don't question it quite so much. It's quite sad.
It is sad, because you believe it of her, because she is, as you said, lonely and sad, and you really feel it in this episode.
I mean, because that's one of the subjects I thought I might write about for my dissertation, because we talk about context.
Yeah.
I want to write about how mental health is portrayed and talk about Love You to Death from Dempsey Makepeace.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because her character is, the terminology used to describe her, it's quite, in today's terminology, is quite offensive, but the bottom line is she had serious mental health issues.
Yes, yeah.
So I wondered if that would still be portrayed in that same way today.
Yeah, I think it would be very different today. And that's an interesting thing. Is It's a Wonderful Life and the whole it sounds trite to call it a trope, but you know what I mean. The contemplating suicide, and then you show them what life would have been differently. Would that be portrayed differently today because of our much more awareness of mental health, that people perhaps
it doesn't just magically go away, does it? It's like,
yeah. But I think maybe perhaps people today wouldn't be reaching that point so readily because we're much more open about talking about mental health. You know, that they might be more prepared to go to somebody and say, I'm really struggling.
I think it's quite clever that now she's in the dream, her outfit's identical, but it's changed to blue.
Yes.
Yes. In the real world, in the real like current regular blue land, she's wearing a purple outfit, but now she's in like state with the guardian angel. She's wearing it's exactly the same, but in a pale blue.
Yes, it's amazing. It's a sort of grey blue as well, so it's very.
What was his name?
It's Max.
Max, of course it is.
From Heart to Heart.
Heart to Heart. So Maddie's been taken back by the guardian angel.
Yes.
And it's now turned into the Heart Agency, and it's no longer Blue Moon.
Nope. And I love Heart to Heart.
I missed his name. I've forgotten it again. You said you kept used to saying it every time something disappeared.
Albert.
That was it.
Yes. Yeah, it's something I say all the time. Go, Albert's taking that. Yeah.
Oh, I had that moment the other day. I put my terabyte USB thing down somewhere. I thought, it was here. So Flipping Angels moved it.
I would have to say, actually, Heart to Heart was probably my first ship, although it wasn't a ship, if you know what I mean. But I loved Heart to Heart, and I loved when they kissed. And it was like,
I remember that we watched it.
Yeah.
And I remember that we did watch it, and I remember watching it with my dad, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
The only thing I seem to remember is like they had a house with big black gates, Joy on the driveway.
Yes, yeah.
That's literally all I can remember.
It was just, Murder, She Wrote or Father Brown Mysteries or any of those series.
Don't get me started on Murder, She Wrote, because we all know she's a serial killer.
Yes. I killed them all. Yes. But, this is Albert telling her he's their guardian angel. He's a great actor, actually, a great choice for it, because he's slightly... He's very, what's the word? He's very ordinary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not.
He's not this handsome, angelic. He's just a bloke. I like that.
I watched one the other night. It was called "It's a Wonderful Leap," where Sam gets. It's not really a Christmassy episode. It's set in winter, but it wasn't Christmas per se.
Yeah.
It had Liz Torres in it. She was in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And she plays Sam's guardian angel.
Oh.
And it was that's another nice episode. It's not really Christmassy, but it's kind of a play
on. Yeah, it's wonderful.
I miss Patty. That's who she was in Gilmore Girls.
Yes, Patty. That's it. Yeah. Maybe this is showing that someone being cruel to you, which is Maddie closing the agency and not caring about Mr. Pesto, has washed out of Mr. Pesto the stuff that makes her special, which is her niceness and her positivity, and it's all gone.
I can't fire those people. It's 9 days till Christmas.
Fine. I'll fire them.
Mr. Pesto, sir. Have a heart.
She does.
I don't.
She does. You do. I've seen it. You have the biggest heart in the world.
Move your hand.
Why? So you can pick up that phone and fire those people?
She wouldn't do that. She couldn't do that.
Yes.
No.
Okay, fine. And what would you have me do? Call our stockholders and say, there's not going to be any profits this year because everyone here has visions of sugar plums dancing in their heads.
That's what I do.
You would, wouldn't you?
Agnes, this isn't you. This isn't the way you deal with people, with situations. This is me.
Fire them, Viola. Fire them, or I'll fire you.
No, you can't treat him like that. You love him.
I hate you.
No, you don't. You two love each other. You just don't know it yet. Come on, Agnes. Tell him you love him.
And Maddie believes in love. She believes in the love between Mr. Festo and tell him you love him. Like we've all been watching that and screaming it.
See, Maddie suddenly becomes the audience, doesn't she? Like,
Yes.
this is a role play of, this is an mirror of Maddie and David as Herbert and Agnes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she's screaming like, tell him you love him. It's like, well, hold on a minute. This is like,
Yeah.
all life reflecting here.
Yes, totally.
So it's interesting to see Maddie become the audience from that point of view.
Yeah.
That
It's well done because although they're mimicking Maddie and David, they're still Herbert and Agnes. You know, they're different, they're their own people. So it's really well done. Very, very clever writing this episode, absolutely. So here we're seeing Herbert, who clean shaven, quite the looker. I do like he's cute.
I follow him on Twitter as well. He's quite cool.
He is, isn't he? Great on Twitter. Love him. What a guy. Curtis Armstrong, lovely. And she's horrible to Herbert, and she's like in an abusive relationship with him.
Yeah, it's quite toxic, isn't it, in a way?
Because he wants her to be nice, and she's like, nope, sorry. So she's basically turned into Maddie. It's what I was going to say. She's saying, you know, she's become Maddie.
I think that's why they've done it, isn't it? To show her that this is actually what you're like, and to see it from a nice person to become this. Maybe they're saying that maybe Maddie was like that, and she's was a nice person, has become this toxic person.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like mirroring how she's become.
Yes, totally. That how this is what's happened to Maddie. Maddie started as optimistic and nice and caring, and she's just become cold. It's me. Really, that's what she said. It's me. How did they get this way? That's the question. How did you get this way? You don't have to be heartless to run a business. That's the thing, is that the lesson he's trying to teach her is you can still run a business and be successful without being heartless, and care about your staff. They're your family now. Your staff is your family, and you should treat them as your family. And I think that's what that scene is all about, and teaching Maddie. Which, are you curious what happened to David Adams? You can see in her face how differently her face goes when he mentions David. And so they've turned up at Maddie's house, and there's a big party going on, and she's like, oh, I'm having a party. But no, she's not.
I don't think actually that he does every single episode.
No.
I think he just talks about like key episodes and key pivotal moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I can't believe they're engaged, says somebody at the party, and Maddie's like, oh. And she thinks David and her are engaged because he says she's marrying one of the most beautiful women in the world. My fate, I marry David. David.
Is he the one that was married to Billy Joel?
No, but I can't remember. I'm speaking to you on my phone. I'm watching on my tablet. I can't look up.
Oh, okay. I should have a look.
It's Christy Brinkley that was married to Billy Joel.
Of course it was. Yeah, because she was in Uptown Girl, wasn't she?
Indeed, yes. But Cheryl Teagues, I think she was some TV person. The Americans will be listening to this. Will be like, "Oh my God, I do not know who Cheryl Teagues is." I'm sorry, she didn't make it across the pond.
She was an American supermodel.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. She does kind of look like Sybil Shepherd, doesn't she? The same sort of little petite nose and big smile. That kind of look. I guess that was a popular model look in the 80s in America. So David, and this is what is so funny about this episode, is that everyone is oddly successful without her. David is marrying Cheryl Teagues and is living in a massive house.
Yes, how does it say how David managed to buy Maddie's house?
I don't. He just says he had a very good year, didn't he? That's all he said.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. I don't think he does. So I presume the money he made from Blue Moon or something, and he invested it. Who knows?
Yeah. Or City of Angels. It would have been City of Angels still, wouldn't it? It wouldn't have been Blue Moon.
Yeah.
But then
Oh,
sold
yes,
it
of
before it
course.
went to,
It
it was a heart agency, so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. Isn't that weird? A question I've never asked myself all the time. You don't get to dance in heaven.
Oh, yeah,
What, no music?
It's a
No
Wonderful
more.
Life. You say, I can't eat. I'm an angel. We can't eat. I'm that's sad.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the great pleasures of life. Yay, and here's
Richie Addison.
Richie Addison, Richie and David. It's nice that they brought him in for this episode. I thought that was good.
I guess the question is whether or not I'm making the right choice.
Of course you're making the right choice, Dave. Absolutely you're making the right choice. I mean, you always make the right choice, Dave. Just take a look at your life. You've got everything. Take it from me, bro. Enjoy it now while you've got it. Things could change tomorrow. One day you're on top, the next day... Hey, check out what happened to Maddie Hayes.
What happened to Maddie Hayes?
Hayes. That's a name I haven't heard for a while. Yeah, that was a killer.
What's a killer? What happened to me?
This used to be her house. She slapped me once. She was even a great slapper. I don't know, Rich, it was something... She just had class. Strength. I really admired her.
You did?
She had this softness about her. This warmth.
I thought you didn't even know her.
No, I didn't really. I mean, not the way I wanted to. It was that one time when she closed the office. And then I bought this place. It was just a feeling. I bet she was a really special girl.
It really
Yeah.
does show how little other characters exist for them to talk to.
Yeah, because even in this scenario, Bert and Agnes would have been off limits because they wouldn't have had that
Exactly.
mutual place of work. So
So it's just his brother is the only person. They really are a very lonely pair, aren't they?
yeah, it's quite sad that there isn't other characters for them to bounce. But it's like what we said in Don't See a Makepeace as well. There's no real, not until the last episode where she's Harriet starts talking to Joyce and Dempsey starts talking to, was it Dan, the homeless guy, and his Vikings.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think in that scenario as well, I would have thought Chaz would have been somebody who'd have spoken to
Yeah.
more.
But neither of them did. No, interesting. And yeah, it's the same with here. And I think that is part of why the relationship, in these shows where the relationship is central when they get together, there's not much left because all you have is their relationship. You don't have their relationships with other people to bounce back on, you know?
Yeah, I think also because you don't have that, they don't discuss it with themselves because that would then change that dynamic. But then if there's no other person for them to talk to them about how they're feeling, then the audience doesn't really know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You need that person for them to talk to so the audience gets clued in on what's going on internally.
That's why I think the ensemble casts work so much better.
Totally, I agree. And even something like, and Who's the Boss or whatever, a family, they have other people. It's a family,
Like Mona and Laura was people that both Charlie, Tony,
and them talk to,
they could all talk to.
Yeah.
See, as Joe and Samantha got older, then they could talk to her. Obviously, not so much when she was little, but she was a married woman by the end of it. So,
So this is David is getting cold feet about marrying Cheryl Thieves, and he doesn't know why. He just has this feeling, and then he starts spontaneously talking about Maddie, who he only briefly met, which I suppose is meant to show that the impact they had on each other, even if they had only had a short time together, the impact would have been huge.
Yeah, because I think that first scene where she goes to his office would still have stood in this timeline.
Yeah.
But the fact that she decided not to keep it and sold it, then I don't. It depends on how much of that pilot episode actually stood, which is why it had that much of an impact on him. So
yeah, exactly. What happened to Maddie Hayes? Because she doesn't know. She had a bad year. What happened to me? But that, I think that's the thing, is it shows how much they have impacted each other's life. That
but it's a bit weird then that he's still like kind of thinking about her, but he bought her house.
yes,
That's a little bit
kind of.
creepy.
Well, yeah, it kind of fits into it that he somehow, you think of all the houses you could buy, he bought hers. You know,
It's more like a fate thing as opposed to as a stalker thing.
Yes, yes, rather more like fate, like their paths kept crossing because they were meant to meet and they were meant to be in each other's lives. And I do love the whole fate thing in these relationships. I love it. And it is an interesting thing, even though obviously this ended badly. They changed each other's lives, and that's essentially what you want from a ship, is that the influence they have on each other changes the direction of their life hugely. And obviously it does. I think this shows, to be honest, that it changes Maddie more than it changes David. David becomes much more serious and obviously because he's in love with her.
He's less carefree, isn't he? He's more responsible. He's bought a house. He's getting married.
Yeah.
He's not like carefree person that he is with Maddie. But then he does again. He changes that. Like when she becomes pregnant, he reins that in as well. So he's the one that changes the most throughout the entire series.
Yeah, because she doesn't change much at the end, really, does she? In the real timeline, is what. Yeah. But obviously here she's seeing the influence she had on him, because I suppose there is a part of her that thinks that she is just another blonde in his life, you know, and she doesn't think she means that much to him. She's just there, and that the stuff she says to him, hey, don't you remember, you know, I followed you to New York, you followed me to Buenos Aires, you know, we care about each other. It's because she obviously doubts that. And so this is it playing out in her mind. She's thinking, do we care about each other? And obviously they do. Spoiler alert.
Even when in the time they're together, there's an element of snobbery with Maddie that I think it kind of comes across that she thinks David's beneath her.
Yes, totally.
That she can't be seen with him, which is why I think she wants it kept secret for so long. And I think I've said it before. We don't doubt that they love each other. I just sometimes wonder that they like each other.
Yes, exactly.
And that, which I think is key. It's like in Parks and Recreation. It's like, I love you, but I like you, and that's so fundamental.
Yes, and why this relationship is so. I do think in the long run, if pretending they are real people, which obviously sometimes you have to do, they would work out. I think they probably would, because they do have that connection. They would probably have one of those relationships that they're constantly fighting, and you know, they go and spend the night someplace else, but they just come back to each other because they're like magnetized to each other, you know?
Yeah,
they can't
completely.
live with each other, can't live without each other, kind of thing. And
I do think, though, as good an actress as Virginia Madsen is, they should never have brought Annie Charnock in the final episodes.
Yeah, that was just rubbish. Can I just say something? This shot of Maddie, the alternative version of Maddie, who's obviously poor and on the brink of suicide, looks really, really beautiful. I'm like, wow, they should style her like that.
I think because they glammed up Maddie so much.
Yeah.
Like with the makeup and the hair and the soft writing. Without the lesser makeup, the lesser hair, she does look more stunning in that shot.
Yeah, she does. Her natural beauty shines through and is not clogged down by 80s glamour.
I never quite understood why they did that. It wasn't necessary.
No, I guess it's just one of those things. You know, when you think about Dallas and Dynasty and whatever, that was just the look, wasn't it? Of rich women were supposed to look a certain way on TV in the 80s. And that was it. But she just looks stunning there, I think. And that colour really suits her in the sort of pinkish, I don't know what you call it, pattern dress.
It's nice, yeah.
But here she is, and no one to go to. Poor Maddie. The Maddie in this timeline has no one, has literally no one, and she's
And her aunt just died.
Yeah. Her aunt just died. She's in a bar on her own. And she's no friends. And this shows without Blue Moon, she literally has no one in her life. And that's so sad.
That's quite sad in both timelines.
It is, isn't it? It's really sad. She needs the Blue Moon because she has no one. And that is what the show, the taking over Blue Moon, she does it because, yes, she's good at it and it's making money. Well, sort of. But it's because it gives her a life, it gives her a family, it gives her people who care if she turns up every morning. Whereas if it wasn't for that, who would know if she'd got out of bed, you know? And that is really sad. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So why did we choose this episode again?
What was I thinking?
Now we put everyone on a downer.
Yeah. Hooray! We love a Christmas episode. They're so happy. No, I think that what this shows is that Christmas is such a difficult time. A lot of people, it does highlight their loneliness and their the life they wish they had that they see on Christmas films and whatever. But in the end, what it shows is that your family is what you make it. You know, you may not have a family around you, and you may not have, but you will have people who care about you and look around and be aware of the people around you, kind of thing. Both in terms of her and them, she's been taking them for granted, and now she's realising her life would be horrific without them. And they are taking her for granted too, and they didn't realise she was going through something really sad.
Yeah.
And so they were being a bit hard on her, and they should be nicer, so more understanding. So I think I like that. It's that coming together and thinking. I suppose it's a bit of a Thanksgiving thing, what you're grateful for. And that they have each other. They have this family, this Blue Moon family is a family you care about. Even not just romantically, but just as people.
Oh my God, I can't remember what Agnes DePesto looks like. I can't even get a picture of her in my head.
It's all right, that's normal. You can't very well change 2 years of your life. Keep your memories intact, can we?
I guess not. What about David?
You mean your memories of him? They may take longer to fade. The more intense you're feeling for a person, the harder it is to let go of the memory.
Oh. Yeah, but if people are meant to be together, they'll find each other no matter where, no matter what, right? Isn't that right? They're going awfully fast. Am I going to be all right?
Maddie.
Oh, what you trying to do, kill us? She's going to kill herself. Ourselves. Me. That's what David and Richard were talking about, isn't it? I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to die.
This is very disturbing. It did take me a long time to realise she is trying to kill herself. Like, wow. She doesn't want to. I suppose, everything that has the It's a Wonderful Life really does have that kind of suicidal theme, but because it's a very real thing, and it's
especially at Christmas.
Yeah, and it is brave of them to tackle it and not just have a silly Christmas episode. It still was funny and it had good parts, but it's really sad and moving and real. And this is a good bit when our life flashes before our eyes. That's just, and I love that Pesto's in it, her dad's in it, and
her dreams are in it.
And her dreams are in it, yeah.
No, she's waking up in the bar where she was earlier.
Yes, and she's in her purple.
Her makeup's immaculate.
Yes, of course it is.
Oh, her hair's, she has slipped on her hair.
It's a bit messed up, yeah. It's the outfits that she wears are very, very covered up. High neck, long sleeve, dressed to the knee. Very conservative. It's only when we see her. She doesn't
dress like somebody that's 35 years old.
No, she does not at all. Or maybe that's how people who were 35 in the 80s dress, but it doesn't feel like it. Nowadays, I would say she's like late 40s. Not in facially, obviously, but the
In the
look,
way she dresses.
yeah, the style of dressing. Hey, Albert did it.
Oh, I see Maddie's back in the real world in her purple frock.
Yeah. And the tree trimming. It's Santa in the lobby. The musical score was very good on Moonlighting, wasn't it? It just was.
There was a class to it, wasn't there?
Yeah, totally. It's one of those things you don't often notice it, but you would notice if it wasn't there, or it was bad. Oh, nobody's in the blooming detective agency. It's all dark. But oh, hang on. I've just been brought a present. Thank you. We're doing a Christmas episode. Yes.
Lucy.
This is
Yes.
Disappearance by Andy Glen.
Yes, he brought me a Snickers bar.
Oh, nice. Got you having well trained.
Yes. Oh, dear.
Brings you chocolate. I can't ask for more than that.
No, exactly. Unprompted. Oh,
even better.
yeah. So Maddie's in the detective agency and it's all dark and she remembers you want a good job doesn't love you back. But it does. A good job does love her back because Mr. Pesto loves her and David loves her. And
That's not the
everybody
job, that's just the stuff. But yeah.
a good job should become a family. Well, in this world.
So they'd all the staff have been hiding out in David's office waiting for her to come back in the dark, which is a bit creepy.
Yeah, it's a bit creepy. Well, it's the start of McGillicuddy. Yay! We love Mr. McGillicuddy.
Oh, they apologised because they didn't realise her aunt had died.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's apologising. Oh, it's oh, and she's crying. And I love this bit where she hugs all of them. It's just so nice.
After you left, your family called back. Sorry to hear about your aunt. And I'm sorry about... Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
It's okay.
Did I miss something?
Yes. No. I'm sorry, too. Mr. McGillicuddy, I hope you'll stay.
Yeah, I like that.
Mr. Pesto, I'd like you to call Mr. Hamilton in the morning and tell him that we just can't have his casework by the 28th. Doesn't he know it's Christmas?
I'll make that call right now.
She does that smiley crying thing very well.
She does. Even though she's really glamorous. It's like,
I was going to say, how does she manage to cry and look so beautiful at the same time? I hate her.
yeah, Maddie just jumps on David.
And yes, it's a Christmas stalk. And there's not even mistletoe around.
See, they're not together.
No.
Then, like, they're still the one away. So he's just come back. She's snogging him. But this will never get mentioned ever again.
No, exactly. No, and it's not just a kiss, it's a full on snog.
Oh, they're on the desk. She's literally on top of him.
Yeah. And Mr. McGillicuddy and Mr. Pesto are in the room. You know?
The classic theme tune by El Giro.
Yes, fantastic.
Something is sweeter. 1986.
There we are. I was
5
11.
years old.
Yeah, so that's one of the Christmas tropes in terms of the kind of Christmas episodes they do, which is It's a Wonderful Life homage or rip-off or whatever you want to call it. Which is probably the more serious because of the whole,
Yeah, I think you get like 3 standard tropes, and you do like what Moonlighting did in the first film, where you had the kind of take on the virgin birth, and it had the 3 kings and the Mary and Joseph.
Yes,
You've got the Wonderful Life homage, which is like what we just discussed in the episode we just watched, or you get the Scrooged scenario,
Yeah,
like in Quantum Leap or in like Blackadder's Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Which
But
is
then-
it's similar to It's a Wonderful Life, but with a different twist, because it's more about seeing people really as they are. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with
A
the
lot-
Christmas Carol thing, so you kind of get the past
Past, yeah.
and the future, whereas It's a
Yeah.
Wonderful Life is more about stopping, like you
And
say, with the whole mental health suicide thing. And it's more of a alternate reality as opposed to what is actually happening at that time.
Yes, exactly. Correct. That's what I was trying to say.
Yes. It's so good we can edit these things.
Yes, exactly. And there's also this just sort of general magic. You know, there'll be something that just magically happened and you go, hang on, did that really? You know, like the end of that episode of Moonlighting where she looks at him and then he vanishes, Albert vanishes. David's like, what was that? And then he goes, who cares? But, you know, where something, you're like, did that really happen or was that?
Because it's like I don't think they could have done it twice, but it's like in the other episode, they had the snow in the office.
Yes,
or like,
exactly.
She dumped him, so that kind of like the mistletoe thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of get like it will end it like, oh, it'll start snowing. That's a trope, or like they'll get kissed under the mistletoe and it'll end, but then they'll never discuss the kiss again.
Or but something will happen, like, you know, they can't get home in time for Christmas or whatever, and somebody gives them a lift, and then you go, oh, was that Santa? You know, the kind of magic.
Yeah, there's a kind of magic element to it. Some unexplained magical. Was that a Christmas miracle? Kind of.
Yes, Christmas miracle. That's it. That's the phrase.
So yeah,
as popularized in Hallmark Christmas films.
And they'll be like, oh, they can't get home for Christmas. What am I going to do? So, and then suddenly all the family just turn up on their doorstep. It's like,
yes, exactly. Oh man, we love a Christmas film. I just thought of another Christmas episode. Is the not going out one where she gives birth in the supermarket, in the superstore, I should say, not supermarket. Yeah.
Oh, that's the other one. That was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. The Die Hard Christmas trope.
Oh yeah, Die Hard, of course. Yeah. the most Christmas movie of all, Die Hard.
I've seen a really cool Christmas jumper online today, and it was like this is something. It was red, and it had the Nakatomi Christmas party written on it.
Very good.
I'm thinking, should I get it?
I mean, we've just watched Moonlighting. Why didn't it kill Bruce Willis? It should have come to mind sooner, man.
I know.
Yes, we do. So, I mean, there is a lot of different scope for things. And often because of, I mean, I don't know what the status is in America, but in Britain, Christmas episodes are like the most watched. So you do put your big romantic moment in the Christmas episode because it's going to be the most watched.
Summarize what we've just watched.
Okay. So yeah. Well,
do as you're told.
And perform. No, we did kind of sum it up when we were speaking about the different tropes and Christmas.
Yeah, I guess we did. We can cut it back there, can't we?
Yeah, it's fine. That was one that was on the It's a Wonderful Life, and obviously I don't think it's necessarily canon because
no, it's a standalone. I think because this is never ever mentioned again.
No, exactly. But we
as much. I think it does reflect a lot of Maddie's character, which is again surprising that it isn't brought up on again.
I think you know what I think is you could see it as an allegory or a metaphor, and I don't know what the difference is. For what's going on in Maddie's mind, and that this is in her life where she realizes I need this, and she's not just doing it for the money or whatever. Is she cares about this? This is making her life have meaning, and so she's focusing on them and looking at these people as her family now. So,
yeah, no, it's okay.
And that's that. Merry Christmas.
Until the next time.
Yes, and who knows what we'll be talking about then? Because we don't.
We never do.
Thank you for listening to our Moonlighting Christmas Pyjama Party. If you've been affected by the issues raised and need to speak to someone, in the UK you can call the Samaritans on 116 123. That's 116 123. Or in the US, you can call the National Alliance on Mental Illness on 1-800 950 6264. That's 1-800 950 6264. Or you can text NAMI to 741741. That's NAMI to 741741. Both of these charities can be contacted day or night. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.